Let me see if I can. All right. Good morning, everybody. Ghost, week 4. How we feeling?
Week 4, I really like this slate. There's a couple good spots to stack. So gotta make it interesting from a rostership percentage, depending on where people end up leaning. I think both of us know there's one game in particular that a lot of people are on. So looking at a couple other games, there's just as good, if not even better spots to get different. Salaries are pretty well done this week. So a couple guys that are underpriced there, especially on DraftKings. So looking forward to it. Gonna be a good week. I feel it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. There's a couple games. We'll just kind of give a quick slate review here. We got, what do we have? 4 games with the total over 50. We got Cleveland, Minnesota. Hello. Oh. No, this guy, first time here and last time here, he bailed on us. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate the support, man. Go get him. Enjoy Cooper Cup and Robert Woods today. What is going on?
Yes.
Oh, Jason's going to lose it. I'll call him. Look good, boys. Can we hear us? Fuck. It's not my internet. I'm loaded, and I hear you perfectly, and you're moving.
Yeah, I'd hear you fine. I have a gig and a half. Well, it's definitely not my internet.
Fan off? What the hell? Half off. Everybody's going out.
Oh, there we go. Now we're good.
We're good? All right. Everybody can hear us. Thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe. Your streaming is limited with your connect. We're both on. Let's go. All right, working now. Let's get after it. All right, first game.
Let's get it.
Indiana, Miami. Honestly, there was a point of this week where I liked Jacoby Brissett, and I don't anymore. He was just so cheap.
So gross. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you got off that.
Porn.
It's so gross.
I guess milesanders.com is porn for me, so yeah, I got to close out of that. Indiana, Miami, Indianapolis, Miami. Is Jonathan Taylor worth a look in GPPs? Let's just get quick because we lost about 5 minutes there.
I'm not playing anyone from this game. It's beyond gross. I get it. Jalen Waddle is looking good in PPR, but I'm not banking on the fact that someone's going 12 for 40 again. Like it's
I think that's the issue. The ADOT for Jalen Waddle is so small. But
Tim Patrick's right there at the same price. Tim Patrick's right there at the same price for me. So if you're looking at Waddle, for me, it's a quick pivot to Patrick, same price. Outside of that, there's nothing really that interests me in this game at all. Like
I like Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, but we like him.
When everybody's going to Evan Ingram at 3K, like find a way up to Mike Gesicki at 4K, or go down to Will Dissly, which we'll talk about. But yeah, this game does not offer much for me. I did like Jonathan Taylor a lot early in the week. The knee issue scares me a little bit. You could run all over Miami. I think Peyton Barber just resurrected his career last week against this defense. But other than that, I mean, Michael Pittman's super cheap. If you have interest in this game, there are some stackable pieces to it. Will Fuller's back, and he's going to have Rock Ya-Sin a ton in coverage. We always talk about how bad this Colts secondary is. So I do want to give like an honorable mention to some players in this game. But other than that, I'd just rather go those high totals in the 50s that we were talking about earlier. So we'll move on. Houston and Buffalo. Buffalo, Josh Allen in the absolute nuts matchup there is, but we always talk about correlation, game scripts. How does Houston score on this Buffalo defense at home in Buffalo or on the road in Buffalo in windy conditions? I think there may be potential rain there as well. I think Josh Allen's fine for cash. His ownership is pretty high. It's like 12 to 15%. Everybody's buying in after last week. Last week, he was $7,000 in salary. Now it's $8,000. I think personally, if we didn't play him last week, he kind of missed the boat. Because there's just going to be, and a quick question. Colts D, Miami D, definitely. If we don't really like the game, I think both defenses are in play because there's just not a lot of offensive firepower that we're worried about. But Houston, Buffalo, do you have any thoughts here? I think for me, I'm a full fade. I like to play 150 lineups, use the optimizer on WinDaily.com, WinDailySports.com, and I had 0 Josh Allen. But to offset that, I don't want to get burned. Like, they are going to score points. I believe they have the second highest implied team total on the whole slate, if not the highest. Buffalo's going to score points. So I think this is a game. We haven't seen Stephon Diggs break 100 yards yet, get that 3-point bonus that we're used to. The targets are there for sure. I think Diggs gets in the box twice this week, and they go up like 21-0. We see a good game out of Zach Moss, maybe a little Devin Singletary, probably Vultures a couple Zach Moss touchdowns. I have a Zach Moss touchdown prop at plus 160 right in the week. I don't know how they dropped that. Then it got down. I think he's like minus 110 now. But Devin Singletary is probably going to vulture one and piss me off. But other than that, are you interested in anybody on Buffalo? I just think Diggs is an elite play. I think he's cash viable. Absolutely. I think he's GPP viable because his ownership is down to 7 to 9% at 7,600. And guess who's more expensive and 3 times the ownership is Cooper Kupp. I know I've been kind of trashing Cooper Kupp all year long. I didn't trash him last week because he shoved it and killed me in week 2. But Stephon Diggs is cheaper and significantly less owned than Cooper Kupp. I think Stephon Diggs, when Buffalo's got a 33-point implied team total, is an easy auto play for me. When I'm thinking about rostering Cooper Kupp, I'm just going to go to Stephon Diggs unless I'm stacking LA and Arizona. But that's it for me on that game. I'm not playing Brandon Cooks on the back end. He's just too expensive for me. Anthony Miller, maybe a viable punt. If you are stacking this game, I'm not going to tell you not to, because I certainly think you could play Josh Allen. You could play Zach Moss with Josh Allen if they're going to score 30 points. I don't think the negative correlation matters at all. You can play Diggs, run it back with Miller, Cooks, whatever you want to do there. But thoughts on this game, Ghost?
I'm not stacking it. If you are getting exposure to it, it would be, in the form of a 1-2 combo with Allen and Diggs. I wouldn't 10 on 10 would not recommend chasing Emmanuel Sanders from last week, turning in a vintage performance. Gabe Davis had a bit of a leg injury there, probably going to come into this game much healthier than he was last game. And frankly, it's Manny Sanders 10 years past his prime. So please do not
Manny's
end up
good,
chasing
though.
that.
Manny's good. Don't play Gabe Davis. Actually,
yeah,
this is actually
don't play any of them. For me, it's just Allen and Diggs, and that's it. I don't see how Houston keeps up, but then again, that didn't stop Allen from going nuts last week when they put up a 40 spot on Washington, right? So they're all systems go. The Buffalo defense is, mediocre at best. So if Tyrod was under center, I would like this game a whole lot better, as crazy as that sounds. It's not like he's an elite QB, wouldn't be a top 20 quarterback in the league if he was starting this week, but still gives that offense a bit more firepower. Right now, I'm completely off this game outside of Allen and Diggs. For me, that's more of a 150 exposure. Single entry 3 max. I have 0 exposure to this game at all.
Okay, so do you think Houston keeps the pace up at all? So that's my thing with Josh Allen. Is sure, he's got the best matchup on paper. He's at home. He got everything going for him last week, and he's going to keep going. This team doesn't like to run the ball. I just don't see how Houston scores. They go up 21, 24-0. Like, we could see Mitch Trubisky in the second half, and that's what scares me. But does Josh Allen get to 25 points prior? I think certainly. I got him projected for right around 24 points, which is QB1 or QB2 on the slate. But when I'm looking at GPPs, I need guys that have a ceiling of 30, 35. I just don't know if Josh Allen has that this week, so I'm going to bail, and that'll be it for this game. Moving on to Detroit, Chicago. Mr. David Montgomery is 20% owned. I think in cash, you just take it. It looks like some rain's coming out the window here in Chicago area. I'm about 25 minutes west of the stadium, and it is pretty dark out there. So disregard my window. It looks kind of bright, but there's a light right there. So, kind of counterproductive there. Rambling about nothing. David Montgomery, I think, is absolutely a great cash game play. I think he's a really good GPP play as well. Sometimes chalk is just good chalk, and he's 5,800. So on DraftKings, I think you take it. On FanDuel, I'm 100% okay if you want to fade it. But thoughts on this game? DeAndre Swift also very popular. I mean, the guy just gets so many touches. I think for me on Swift, it's more of a DK thing. And then last thought for me, Ghost, I'll kick it over to you. TJ Hawkinson, 20% owned last week, 2% owned this week. Buy the dip. I'm fine if you want to play Hawkinson on a run back with David Montgomery. I just don't like this game very much. The total's really low. Weather's bad, like I said. Lions defense certainly in play. Bears defense certainly in play. You like anybody here?
I was actually going to talk about Hawk. I was waiting to see if you would mention him. It's still a great matchup for him. Last week he had a good matchup too. He was getting triple teamed. It was ridiculous. So they completely took him out of that offense. It's right back to Hawk again this week. It's a guy that everyone all of a sudden no one's playing now. He was over 50% owned in cash games last week, and now he's virtually going unowned at all. So for me, it's a good buyback spot for Hawk. Low total. I don't think either team could really push the pace in this one. And what's interesting to me is that everyone's playing Lions defense because of one bad Justin Fields outing, which realistically, if anybody watched that game, you would see that it was, I would say, 90%, if not more, not Justin Fields' fault. Myles Garrett going one-on-one on the outside. It could have been Tom Brady back there, and he would have
36-year-old left tackle of all.
It could have been Tom Brady, could have been Rodgers, could have been anybody in the league, anyone who's in your top 5 list of quarterbacks. Put him behind that line, and he would have looked like a Div 3 high school football quarterback. So, to me, it's Justin Fields is still an electric player. I think if there's ever a bounce back spot for this Bears offense, it's this week. Just with the amount of other spots that I like, it's a hard fade for me. But I don't mind Justin Fields with A-Rob and running it back with Hawk or Swift. Absolutely.
Yeah, Allen Robinson's 5,800. And also, guys, Bill Lazor is the offensive coordinator today. That is when David Montgomery absolutely tore it up towards the end of last year. Granted, those matchups were against Jacksonville, Detroit, and I think Houston also. So it's like the 3 cakewalk matchups. Of course, Montgomery is going to ball out in those. But, for those thinking, okay, Nagy sucks, we all know that. But he's not calling plays today. It is the offensive coordinator, Bill Lazor. But yeah, Allen Robinson at 5,800. Certainly some interest there if the weather.
It'd be interesting to see, too, because everyone's playing Lions D. So I'm curious to see if people actually land on David Montgomery.
Yeah, I don't see the upside in Lions D very much at all. I mean, they're cheap, but I get it. All right. Moment of truth here. Derrick Henry. Does he break the slate? 8,800 on DraftKings,
yes.
10-2 on FanDuel.
Yes.
There is no Julio. There is no A.J. Brown. And now people are starting to play Nick Westbrook-Akeen. He's going to be 10% owned at a punt wide receiver. I get it in cash and GPP. I think that it leaves much to be desired. And for me, on the run back, I love Corey Davis. I don't love him as much now that I know Crowder's going to go. It looks like Denzel Mims is going to suit up, but Corey Davis is still going to get 8 targets. I wanted 10, so I'm a little more down on Corey Davis than I was last night in the Discord now that I know Mims and Crowder are for sure full go. But Derrick Henry, Ghost, take it away. What are your thoughts? I'm right at the field in my 150. I'm not going overboard on him because I want to get exposure to Travis Kelce. And I just really can't do both because I'm not going to play Nick Westbrook and GPPs. But Derrick Henry, I mean, everybody wants to hear a take on Derrick Henry. He's probably just going to blow up the slate, right? I mean, the guy's getting 5 targets a game, too, in the passing. So do we see 6 today?
He's probably going to be the highest scoring player on the entire slate, quarterbacks included. Like that for me is at 8,800. We were playing when
DK Cash, you take it all day.
DK Cash, you have to. Even at FanDuel at 10.2, like people are saying, okay, well the price difference is huge, right? And yeah, okay, you get a bit more salary over on FanDuel, but it is hard to build with Derrick Henry. But the thing that I'll kick back on that is that all you need on FanDuel is touchdown equity. And is there anybody on this slate, anybody in the league that has greater touchdown equity than Derrick Henry in week 4 in this spot? The answer is no. Like that for me is I don't see how we don't play him. There's only one other running back that I would consider on DraftKings, and I'm really eager to talk about him because it's a really good spot for him. But there's only one other guy that I'm considering, and that's in tournaments with tournaments that I call donation tournaments. I don't play these tournaments. I don't play Millie Makers. I don't play tournaments where there's 650,000 people in it. I'm not looking to beat 500,000 plus people in a tournament. Single entry 3 max for me, it's way more successful long term. For me, it's Derrick Henry all day. I'm not making a lineup without him, but to all those that do, I wish you luck, and I hope it works out for you. But at the same time, see this spot. The guy has, like, all of a sudden, it's Derrick Henry doesn't catch passes. He has more targets than Alvin Kamara.
Which we talked about in the preseason.
Everybody that goes out there and says, Derrick Henry's one-dimensional back. He doesn't catch passes. This, that. Where are all these people now? They're cooped up inside. No talking about Derrick Henry all of a sudden. Guy has more targets than Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, any one of these backs that these same people that were touting preseason saying, oh, all these backs are going to catch 4, 5, 6 passes a game, targets through the roof. Derrick Henry has more targets than all of them. And now no Julio, no Odell Beckham, no Julio, and no oh my God,
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, bro. There's no chance that Tannehill drops back there and says, you know what, I want to throw to Westbrook all day. There was a game like that where it was Khalif Raymond, and it lasted a whole drive. Khalif Raymond got targeted 2, maybe 3 times on that drive, and Tannehill said, you know what, enough of this. Started running the football, started dumping it off to Derrick Henry. This was last season, and it's the same thing every year. The moment A.J. Brown is out, now it's different this year because Julio's there. He's not there either. But in previous seasons, when A.J. Brown was out, it was Corey Davis. If he was having a rough game, it was Derrick Henry dump-offs, Tannehill's running the ball. It's going to be Tannehill and Derrick Henry moving the ball on their own. And you could do that against the Jets. They have nobody on defense. Nobody.
Well, okay.
Like, for me, it's just the only reason why you would not be playing Derrick Henry today is that you think, well, maybe he only gets 20 carries.
Well, because carry
last week he got 30 carries. Bro Beans, 30 carries, 5 targets. How do you not play the man today? I don't get it. Everyone's getting so cute. To me, it's 25% ownership, 30% ownership. I don't care. It knocks off 70% of the field. If you're in a contest for anything at all and someone says, hey, you're going up against 9 people, you're 10 people total in the contest, we're going to knock out 7 people. You're not going to be mad at that. Like, if we take our eyes off the, oh, well, he's 30% owned. Okay, that means 70% are not rostering him. And then you got to think all of these people in large field tournaments getting too cute, saying, oh, I'm going to play Alvin Kamara instead. Same price, just pivot. I got to hope Kamara outscores Henry. Go for it. Just lowers his ownership even more. I don't care. Like, how does the man not find the end zone 3 times today? There's no reason for him not to. There's absolutely no reason for him not to.
You got me in the corner. Like, come on, Rock.
Let's go. Do it. Play him. You have to.
Here's my take. I'm 100% playing him in all cash lineups, right? I think that's what
you have to.
If you take my advice and go like 50% of your bankroll to cash, 50% in GPPs, play him in cash, and I am fading him in GPPs. So on DraftKings, for me, like, so it's like Kamara. You were saying Kamara's the pivot. To me, the pivot is not Kamara. The pivot is, can I get Travis Kelce? And that is what I want to prioritize today. I want so much exposure to this next game that we'll talk about right now, Kansas City, Philly. But Derrick Henry's touchdown odds it's minus 190 to score. He should be minus 300 if he's in that good of a spot, dude. The Jets are going to put 8 in the box. And who are
they putting in the box? Who are they putting in the box?
Doesn't matter.
They could put 20 in the box. It doesn't matter.
You don't think
it does not matter? You can't tackle him. You can't tackle him. You physically cannot tackle the man. He's a freight train coming at you.
I don't like it. I'd rather have Kelce in GPPs when Kelsey's going to be
that's for guys like me and you who hand build. You got to think all the majority of people out there that click optimize on something and they sort projections by ownership high to low, and that's how they decipher who's a good play and who's not. Which is like we were talking about this morning. Why are people playing Kupp and Woods with no Matt Stafford?
Okay, make a bet right now.
We do end up doing that where it's like those are people like me and you where we think we can pivot to other positions. We could pivot to a Tyreek Hill. We could pivot to a Davonte Adams or a Travis Kelce. The opto clickers are going to say Derrick Henry is 30%. One spot lower is Alvin Kamara. Perfect. They're going to slot in Alvin Kamara. That. When I gave that example, it's for people like that. For me and you, we could say, let's switch positions and salaries. But there's no way I'm building a lineup without Derrick Henry today. It's not happening.
So here's what we got. If you go to the 80 model on windailysports.com, just go to the projection model that is built by the adjusted expected total yards that go into those projections. We have Derrick Henry for 23.81 points. We have Travis Kelce for 20.73. I will give you a spread of Derrick Henry minus 2.5. I'll take Kelce plus 2.5 on more points scored on DK. Loser has to chug a beer at the opener of the next show next Sunday. You want?
Yeah, so Henry, you're giving me 2.5 points.
No, you're giving
me Derrick Henry minus 2.5.
Yeah, over Travis Kelce, DK.
So what? Okay.
You in? Yeah, Derrick Henry needs to outscore Kelce by 3 or better.
You could have said Derrick Henry has to outscore Kelce by 13. I would have said yes, because at the worst case, I get to chug a beer live camera. What's the penalty in that?
I want the low spread because I want the beer. So, all right, there it is.
There
it is. Derrick Henry minus 2. I'm taking Kelce plus 2.5 over Derrick Henry. Goddamn cops out there. All right. So, also.
See, they heard you possibly not playing Derrick Henry, and now they're coming for you.
Yeah. Get out. All right. Start knocking on the door. Kansas City, Philly. We got a total of 55.5 points. Patrick Mahomes at 5 to 7% ownership right now. Jalen Hurts at 8-10. Both of these quarterbacks are my two favorite quarterbacks on the slate. For the most part, I just want as much exposure to this game as possible. I want a ton of Miles Sanders, a ton. In GPPs, I want to start with Mahomes, Kelsey, run it back with Miles Sanders, Jalen Reagor or Devonta Smith, or go with Hurts. I'm playing Sanders with Hurts. You can play Clyde, Kelsey. Kelsey's like my priority play this week. I do like Tyreek Hill a little bit, but he got banged up last week and left, I think, with a rib injury. That's where we saw Hardman get a couple more targets than usual. So I'm more Kelsey than anything. But if you can find a way to make that double stack, no one's going to play that because, again, they're prioritizing Henry. You could not make a Mahomes double stack with Henry. Otherwise, you're playing Nick Westbrook, you're playing Will Dissly, you're playing Evan Ingram. Like, you're doing a bunch of weird shit.
You're playing all of those guys
I would not
together.
recommend. If you're playing one of those punts, play one of those punts. Don't play two of them. That is my other rule for today. But all in all, like this game is where the majority of my bankroll is going. That's where it's starting. I am getting 2 pieces minimum of each side in my GPP lineups, and that is that. Do you have anything to say on the contrary?
Not at all. It's my favorite game of the week. Jalen Hurts is both my cash game quarterback and my main lineup quarterback as well.
Kansas City's dead last in pass DVOA and run DVOA. Like, this game is going to shoot out. Mahomes needs to go nuts. Andy Reid going back to Philly. So many narratives here, and I know Tulak out there loves narratives. So put that one in your narrative book, Mr. Tulak. And yeah, it's just Kansas City's 1-2 also. So these guys are going to start, and Andy Reid is not going to let his foot off the gas when he's in Philly. Just play this game. I don't know how the ownership is so low. How is Devonta Smith at 3% ownership?
Well, that's exactly the guy that I want to talk about.
Yeah, when everybody played Mike Williams and Keenan, they were both at 15% ownership. Both had great games. Mike Williams broke the slate. Keenan Allen hit value. Now you have Devonta Smith and Jalen Reagor that are out there for 75% of the snaps minimum. Devonta's at like 99. The guy doesn't leave the field. So how are Devonta Smith and Jalen Reagor, who are significantly cheaper than Keenan Allen and Mike Williams a week ago, getting no ownership at all? Guys, like, if you look at lineup success and what happened last week, it's not that hard to find. Like, let's just go right back to the same situation because Kansas City's defense got no better. They're terrible. So, and the only thing they can do to win games is to score 30-plus points. So if they do that, Philly's going to be on foot on the gas too. And Miles Sanders at 2% owner. Like, no one is playing Philly besides Jalen Hurts. Everybody's playing Jalen Hurts. He's got, a 10% ownership tag, but why would you not pair him with anybody else or get more exposure to Philly just because this game's going to go back and forth? So to me, a key success piece for me is getting 2 players on Philly, 2 players on Kansas City minimum, and just getting points every single drive. When Philly's driving, my lineup's going to go up most likely because I'm going to have Devonta or Reagor and Miles Sanders or Jalen Hurts. And then same thing for Kansas City. If this game just keeps going up pace, your lineup just keeps growing all day long, and then you'll get a couple pieces in the afternoon for the hammer to solidify it, and boom. That is my path to success today.
Absolutely. For me, it's I'm probably going double Eagle stack with my week 1 gem and Jalen Reagor and Devonta Smith. Like, for me, it's, we were talking about it with the guys too about Quez, right? And how his snap share is up to just over 65% last week from roughly, low 40s in week 1, right? So he's already making moves in that offense. But the thing that I've noticed when watching these games, especially last week when they took an absolute beating to none other than my Cowboys, shout out Brian in chat. That's why he's being salty today, because I'm not wearing an Eagles hat. But Jalen Reagor I might have to bust that one back out, but I don't know. We'll make moves. But Jalen Reagor and Quez have been running very similar route trees, right? Like, you're seeing bubble screens from both these guys. Reagor just running them obviously on the outside, Quez in the slot when it's almost like an army in front of him after just trying to block up field for him, right? So both of them end up getting targeted deep. Reagor much more so because he just has the separation off the line. And now you have Kansas City down a ton of DBs on top of that. Tyrann Mathieu is going to have to stay back there because when you're looking at deep routes from Jalen Reagor, you're leaving him one-on-one. He's cooking guys like Mike Hughes and anyone else, right, that he's going up against. So for me, you end up kind of just saying, well, how you end up defending a guy like that? Yeah, you're going to say, well, it's not Tyreek Hill. It's not Stephon Diggs. It's not Davonte Adams, right? But Jalen Reagor has ridiculous speed. So it doesn't matter if he's one of the elite wide receivers in the league or not. What matters is can he burn one off the line? And that's exactly what he can do today. So Tyrann Mathieu is going to have to stay back there. And that opens up the whole middle of the field for Devonta Smith on these crossing routes. If he can get behind linebackers, he's going to be wide open all day long. So for me, it's Devonta Smith and one of Jalen Reagor or Quez. For me, it's Jalen Reagor. Everyone knows how I feel about playing Jalen Reagor. I played him in week 1 at 1% ownership and sent us to the moon. So for that, I'm going right back to that spot. I'll see if it'll become like a... No, for me, it's no, just because I don't know what's going on with the whole Zach Ertz situation, and like their double tight end sets seem to be kind of dwindling down compared to the past few seasons because they actually have playmakers on the outside now, right? They have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. Jalen Reagor is looking as good as he's ever had in his early stages of his career. They trust Quez. The man's over 65% snap share now. Is it high? No. Is it much higher than week 1? Only 3. Now we're 4 weeks into the season. For 3 games into his career, man, like he's looking good, and they're trusting him out there in these 3 wide receiver sets. So I really do think that the Eagles kind of end up saying like, okay, do we pound the ball with Miles Sanders and keep Mahomes off the field like everyone else tries to, or do we really just focus on scoring every drive on offense to try and put our best foot forward and making sure that Jalen Hurts runs around? And that's why for me, my prop of the day, I know we don't necessarily talk a whole lot of sports betting, but for my prop of the day is Jalen Hurts over 52.5 rushing yards at plus money. I think he goes absolutely bonkers today. Miles Sanders, Jalen Reagor, Devonta Smith. You can load up on these Eagles because Kansas City's defense is bad, and man, is Kansas City going to put up points. So I think this one can shoot up to it can hit high 60s, if not 70 points this week. I'm all over this game. It's 100% my main lineup. There's no way that I'll ever change that.
Lock of the day, Miles Sanders scores a touchdown. I think you can get plus 150 or plus 160 on your sports books. Every single RB1 has scored at least 1 touchdown against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we get a home team doing it. Miles Sanders gets in the box. Nick Sirianni, please wake up, buddy. I don't care about Lane Johnson if he's out.
Yeah, this guy
getting old.
Yeah,
but Brian, please go talk to Nick S. and get Sanders the ball. Unleash the kid. This is the week. The guy's going to be 2% owned. I am all over it because that is a key part of my GPP builds. And Goddard, I think, certainly in play. Zach Ertz is a viable punt. I don't like Zach Ertz very much, but, just getting cheap pieces to this game like Quez Watkins, like he said, I'm not against that. That's more like a milli ticket for me where I'll play Quez. I'm not going to play him in single entry. I'm going to Devonta Smith. Exactly what Go said, taking apart those linebackers. And Tyrann Mathieu, if he's got to go to the slot to play coverage, he can't cover. He's more just a playmaker. He's not a cover guy. So
that
run routes around him.
That's exactly why I was saying like they have to keep him deep. Right, like he would get cooked dropping down into coverage there. So for me, if they keep him deep, Devonta gets behind these linebackers, he's going to be wide open in between the hashes all day long. So for me, it's Reagor on a deep ball, Devonta on these crossing routes. I love this Eagles offense.
Mahomes goes ape shit on the other side because Mahomes needs to win a game today. Next game, very popular game, Dallas, Carolina at Dallas. We got a total right around 50.5, I believe. Yes, sir. Dak Prescott, one of the most popular quarterbacks on the slate. Cash games, absolutely viable. If you don't want to go to Hurts, go to Dak. And that's pretty like the only 2 quarterbacks that I considered in cash this week were Hurts and Dak. I'm not getting any lower than that. I know you can. We can make a case for Heineke when we get there. Zeke Elliott, 5% owned. I think it's a great spot for him just with the red zone usage. I personally still believe Pollard's a better player. Chubba Hubbard, 16% ownership right now. Any love for Chubba Hubbard?
I do. Love this game in college. I'm a big Chubba guy. So the thing for me is that he has that 3-down skill set, just like a Christian McCaffrey, like a Dalvin Cook, right? Like, is he at that level yet? No, don't go nuts in the comments. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he has the ability to be that guy. And we saw that in last week's game. And for me, it's Darnold's going to continue throwing these dump offs no matter what. He's not a guy that's really going to change that offense. He's not going to be able to be dynamic on the fly to be able to completely eliminate checkdowns from his passing game, right? So we saw Chubba last week already catching 5 balls. For me, it's just you end up taking that role, and the fact that he's as close to a Christian McCaffrey type as they have in that backfield, it really is interesting. Throw in the fact that DJ Moore is going to see Diggs on the other side. Now, Darnold's favorite target, possibly getting blanket coverage. Like for that, it's Chubba is going to be a great play in PPR today. A little less so on FanDuel because I don't really trust the touchdown equity all that much. because of the fact that Darnold has legs, and he always has throughout his career. Just we didn't get to see it all the time on the Jets because, well, frankly, just because it's the Jets. But Darnold has legs in the red zone, so he's going to be able to run around. He could possibly run one in, right? So Chubba for me is on DK. And because I'm making KC Philly my main stack, I do want pieces of this game, but frankly, I don't know if it'll fit with Derrick Henry. For me, I have no trouble at all getting Hurts, the two wide receivers that I said, with Kelsey, with Derrick Henry. So for that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Chubba in there. But I do like this game. Just for me, there's a much better game, the one that we just talked about before, and there's a 10th of the rostership in that one. So I kind of peeled off this game when I saw how many people were on it.
Yeah, so I got a hot take. DJ Moore is 20% owned. He is not in my cash pool. He is not in my GPP pool. He is out. I will, out of my 150 lineups, I'm not playing him in one. So if DJ Moore goes off, pray for me. Those cops that drove by earlier, I'm just gonna have them take me away for something I didn't do. Just I'll commit, something. I don't, whatever. Rambling again, but DJ Moore is going to see a ton of Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs, I tried to rewatch that Dallas game this week. This dude he's awesome. Like, I don't know.
Thank you.
He just improves so much. Like every single week, this guy is a shutdown corner. He's one of the top 5 corners in the NFL in my model. Like, that is a guy I start to steer away from. I give like a 20% downgrade when I first do projections, and then I go into the coverage, and 80 Mile runs like a coverage scheme and simulation that way. He gets a 20% downgrade, and I'm out. Like, if 20% of the field's going to play him, I think this is a perfect get right spot for Robbie Anderson. I think Terrace Marshall is in a very good spot. Terrace Marshall gets a ton of red zone targets. I know we called him week 1 the best 3K wide receiver. Had a touchdown, actually had 2, and Darnold missed him on both. So I'm going back to Marshall. I'm going to Anderson. I'm going to get the cheap guys in this game, because if this game does shoot out, it's likely going to hurt me a little bit unless Kansas City Philly outpaces them. So this is a really good game to get pieces to, but Amari Cooper's at 20%. He's a good cash play. I like that. For GPPs, I don't know. I'd rather go to CD at half the ownership. I just think CD is a better player. But my runbacks are not going to have DJ Moore. If you like DJ Moore, whatever, but Trayvon Diggs, again, one of the best corners in the NFL. Give me Robbie. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. They said they're trying to get him more target. I mean, he literally walked off the field on a play against Houston. I was like, and I had a lot of money on his receiving yards prop, and he hit that big catch at the end. I was like, all right, I need one more. And he just seemed like disinterested. He's like, oh, if I'm going to get 2 targets a game, the hell with this. But I think my favorite runbacks there are Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall, Chubba Hubbard. I didn't get to him a lot. I'd rather just go to David Montgomery at 5,800 and eat that chalk. They're both going to be chalk, but it's because people are likely going with Derrick Henry and Chubba Hubbard. That is going to be a chalk build. So if you see that, maybe get different somewhere else. Zeke Elliott, I think, honorable mention there. I'd like him more on FanDuel. He's only 500 more on FanDuel, which is
this Panthers run defense is legit too. So
yeah, but their secondary, JC Horn's out, so I think this is a really good spot for Dak. So I do love Dak. This game worries me that I'm underweight on it, but it's probably my 3rd favorite game to stack. Dalton Schultz, super cheap. If you want to buy a stock at its highest price, you're buying Dalton Schultz right now, but he's only 3.4K. So I mean, if you believe in it, he clearly has something special with Dak. They like him. He's, very good at evading tackles. So he's not like your typical tight end. This dude can go out in the slot and run some routes and avoid tackles. That's pretty big for me. But let's get a couple questions here. Let's hope DJ Moore. I know, Antonio, please. Like, if I say I'm not on Cup and he goes off, so if I fade DJ Moore and he goes off today, whoever my like anti-chalk guys of the week, lock him in the next week. So DJ Moore, pat the failure, baby. Just Trayvon, shut him down. Lazard or Terrace? I hope I just answered that question. I'm Terrace Marshall all day here at that price. This is a game script that he should blow up in, especially if Trayvon Diggs can get TJ Moore out a little bit. John Taylor, OBJ, and flex and season long. Ooh. When in doubt, I go running back, but how are you not starting OBJ anyway? Is your wide receiver core just nuts? Either way, that's a really good problem to have, Raiders. Maybe let us know PPR and whatnot, just if it's, a non-PPR league, I'd go with John Taylor just for the touchdown equity. But yeah, and Quentin Nelson's out too, so John Taylor's gonna be out of my player pool. Unfortunately, I liked him a lot in the week, but now I'm just going all Sanders. If he's gonna be 2%, even with no MVS, yeah, more Adams to me. MVS doesn't scare me at all. I would double stack Lazard in we'll get to that game in a second. New York and New Orleans.
Gross.
Alvin Kamara. That's it for me. Move on.
That's it.
Evan Ingram
Next question.
3Ks, whatever. He's going to be kind of popular today. He doesn't do it for me. I think New Orleans is number one against the tight end in terms of DVOA. They just know how to cover. And even if he goes to the slot, they know how to cover that too. I think you'll see Chauncey Gardner-Johnson probably talk some shit to him. Then Evan Ingram punches him in the helmet and gets tossed out of the game. We've all seen that happen with Anthony Miller last year when we loaded up on 3.5 Miller prop. That's my worst gambling story ever. I had a ton on Anthony Miller, 3.5 catches in that game, and Miller had 3 catches right off the bat. I think in 2 drives. Next drive, punches the dude in the helmet, tossed. It was still the first quarter. It's all right. God. And I told a lot of people about it. I was like, that's just a bad price. The model had him for 5.5 catches, 3.5 cake. He'll have it in the first half. No, he gets kicked out of the game. So never lost one that way. That's pretty cool. I've heard of injury losses. Those I could sleep with, but you're punching a dude that your teammate punched in the head 2 weeks ago.
That's rough.
Bitch. It's like that
that's
Netflix,
another level of bad
hockey
beat.
Documentary. You see that Jimmy Galante
hockey
documentary? Pretty good. You'll love it. It's about a mob minor league hockey team, the UHL. Pretty cool story. Moving on. Cleveland, Minnesota. My favorite play of the week overall, Odell Beckham. And that is it for me. I'm not going to play Dalvin Cook. He's coming off an ankle sprain. I do have a very, very good honorable mention GPP play in Nick Chubb. I think this is a great spot for him in the dome, running against the offense that Kevin Stefanski built, which actually Gary Kubiak built. Stefanski kind of inherited and then dumped it off to Kubiak's son. So I think this game goes under. I think we see a ton of running, but I either want Nick Chubb or Odell Beckham in any GPP lineup that I build. And that's it. I'm not running it back with Jefferson. I love Justin Jefferson. I always do. But for me, it's more what corner and what coverage is he playing. And I think Cleveland should run a decent bit of cover too. That can kind of, Justin Jefferson's not a burner. He's more like the middle of the field. And I think that'll kind of hinder that a little bit. But Odell Beckham's my favorite play by far on this slate. Any love for this game at all?
OBJ for sure. I'm definitely on the same page with you on that. And I am playing a bit of Dalvin Cook. This is a guy at 8,100. At 8,100, he's $1,000 too cheap. We're likely, I don't want to say never to see him under 9K again, because barring what he does this week, he might be, next week might be his last week under 9K, but no one's playing him. 8.1 for Dalvin. It's the cheapest you'll ever see him. It's a really good spot for him. Kirk is going to have to dump that ball off real quick with Myles Garrett coming at him. So for me, it's to be able to see the amount of work that Madison got in the passing game last week as Dalvin Cook. And he does it better than Alexander Madison does. And the thing is with Dalvin Cook is that when he says he's 100%, I believe him, because if he wasn't, they wouldn't be playing him. The way that Madison played last week, I don't want to say they don't need Dalvin Cook. He's one of the best running backs in the league, top 3 running back in the entire league. But they wouldn't push him to lose him for 4 to 6 weeks based on one matchup against the Browns. So when he says he's good, he's good. And I think a healthy Dalvin Cook is really, really dangerous at sub 5% ownership at only 8.1 on DraftKings. So to me, the main reason is everything that I just spelled out, but it's also because it's not easy. It's not hard to end up getting over the field because of how low owned he is. You want to double the field, it's only 10% Dalvin Cook. It's really not. It doesn't take all that much to be way overweight compared to the field on Dalvin Cook. You could 2x the field with 10% Dalvin Cook and you're 150 and you're flying. So for that, when I was talking about one running back that I would possibly consider over Derrick Henry, because if I need someone that's going to outscore Derrick Henry, who's going to go absolutely bonkers today, I need a guy that has that 25, 30 point ceiling at the running back position. Only one that I see on this slate is Dalvin Cook. So you end up trusting him, thinking that he's healthy at 8.1, sub 5% owned Dalvin Cook. That's our best beat for a slate breaker. And that's a nice little mini stack for Dalvin Cook and Odell Beckham Jr.
Man, you got me interested now. I was not looking at him at all. Just I don't want to mess with the ankle. But yeah, I mean, at 5% owned Dalvin Cook, I feel like anytime you call a Dalvin Cook game, it happens. So, all right. But yeah, I'm all in on Odell Beckham. Next game here, Washington, Atlanta. I think this one, I think a lot of people think this has sneaky shootout. Starting off with Heineke or Matt Ryan. These guys are dirt cheap. Do you have any interest in these guys at quarterback?
If I'm playing one, I'm not playing either one of them, just to start off with that. But if I am playing one of them, it's going to be Heineke. Just the legs, being able to run around and being able to torch this Atlanta defense, which is absolutely atrocious. So for me, it's going to be Heineke. He has the weapons. Gibson looks like he's ready to play. If anyone has that confirmed injury news, please drop it in the comments. Because once Gibson's we are live, we are absolutely MIA. Beautiful. So Gibby's good to go. Terry's going to have a day. Being able to torch those Atlanta corners that we absolutely love to pick on. So if I'm playing one, it's the Washington offense and running it back with, you can go up to Calvin Ridley. Personally, I would just run it back with a very underpriced Mike Davis.
Yes.
For me to be able to have a starting running back at 5K. And I'll even give an honorable mention to Cordarrelle, because I know it's, you know what, for me, it's, I don't want to do RB1. I don't know. I said honorable mention. Whoa.
Honorable mention to the bench. Get him out. Don't even say his name.
Whoa.
I won't stand for it.
Man's got 10 plus touches 3 weeks in a row. Whoa.
Don't care.
Whoa. Matt Ryan is absolute cheeks. So the man's just going to be able to dump it off. So if I'm investing why would I pay for Calvin Ridley when I can just get Davonte Adams? You know, like at that point, I'd rather get cheaper exposure to the Falcons side. So if you're playing the narrative that it's a Washington offense day and you need someone on the way back, you could see some Cordarrelle dump offs. You could see Mike Davis dump offs. Both of them caught 4 or 5 balls last week. I don't have the exact number there. I know Mike Davis caught 4. I'm pretty sure Cordarrelle caught even more than that. So for that, it's 7+ carries for both of them. Mike Davis, 3 straight weeks in a row with double-digit carries. Like, a lot of their offense is funneling through that backfield. No Russell Gage again. You could play Kyle Pitts on the outside. Just for me, it's not really a spot that I want to target this Atlanta offense. So all in all, I'm not really playing too much of this game. But if you are, for me, it's the Washington side with Heineke. And then an Atlanta run back would be very cheap exposure, Mike Davis.
Here's a little, so this is one of my favorite back and forth, like mini game stacks that I want to do just so I'm not 100% invested in KC Philly. Like, I'm not making a whole lineup of just that game. I love going Mike Davis and running back with Terry McLaurin. I think McLaurin's everybody should know, like, this is a money spot against Atlanta secondary. Terrible on the turf too, in the dome. Like, Terry McLaurin should be 15 to 20% owned at 6,900. I think this is a great spot. So that's kind of like why I'm not going to CD and Amari too much, because I like Terry McLaurin so much in this game, and I like Mike Davis so much. I think he's got plus odds to score too, like plus 130, plus 140, 4.5 catches. Like, Mike Davis should be 20% owned. He's very cash viable at 5,100, 5,400 on FanDuel. I'm not making a lineup on FanDuel without him, just because like that, it's just too cheap. Like, you got to take it. If we can finally get the touchdown variance in his way, like, it is the same situation as Clyde Edwards-Helaire last week. Like, we saw the same price. Like, no one was on him. I guess he was Clyde started to become chalk towards the later end of Sunday before kickoff. But same situation. Game's just going to go back and forth. There's no defense on either side of this game. Washington's defense has been terrible to date. So playing a guy that's just like, okay, he's in a great game script, a lot of high point total. Mike Davis, just get in the box like Clyde did. And there you go. If you like Mike Davis at 5,100 and I'm 5,400 on FanDuel, if he gets in the box, winning GPP lines will have him. It's just because whatever else it allows you to build. It gives you Henry. It gives you Kamara. It gives you a guy that I love, Davonte Adams. It gives you Kelsey. You can make a lineup right here that I just kind of messed with. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Mike Davis, Devonta Smith. There's my Philly. There's my Atlanta. Run it back with Terry McLaurin. And then I get Travis Kelsey at tight end. You still got plenty of room to work with that you can make a lineup without a punt, or you could put a punt play in there and maybe pay up for another running back or something like that. But getting exposure to Mike Davis and then getting exposure to Terry McLaurin, I believe 50% of my lineups, or 40 to be, I think it's 42% has that mini stack. So I'm very high on Mike Davis. I'm very high on Terry McLaurin. And I will have overweight on shares of Kyle Pitts and overweight shares of Logan Thomas. These guys are 2 and 3% owned. Kyle Pitts has to get it done someday. I'm going to keep riding that ship. I wish his price went down to the 4Ks, but at 5K on DraftKings, no Russell Gage again. They have to figure it out soon. Like, the guy's just too talented. Hopefully we see some crossing routes and some drag routes. They need to just let this guy get open in space. Kyle Pitts gets in the box today. I think it's one of my favorite tight end plays. That's not named Kelsey. and not name Will Dissly, we'll get to when we have to punt. I think getting a mid-tier tight end that's in a good game script like this, or like a Dallas Goedert, but Goddard doesn't do it for me as much because we see Ertz. Getting guys like these two tight ends in this game with a high total and no one's taking snaps from them, I'm in. I prefer Pitts a lot more just because we see Curtis Samuel back for Washington, so I know that's going to mess with the target share a little bit, but I know the guy's target share that's not going to get messed with is Terry McLaurin. So I like Pitts. I like Mike Davis. I like McLaurin a ton. Honorable mention, Logan Thomas. But yeah, Mike Davis, I'm half in. Half my lineups are going to have him for the most part. So Kamara or Dalvin? No, Stephen King. Shouldn't you be writing a book? Classic joke. I'm going Kamara. Giants defense sucks, man. But I think Ghost is going to go Dalvin. Agreed. I'm going Kamara.
That's correct.
The dude's props are through the roof. But yeah, Curtis Samuel's back. I'm not interested in that at all. But Kyle Pitts, Mike Davis, Terry McLaurin. This game will go up pace. Probably one of the higher pace games on the slate, honestly. I think if I go the 80 mile and expected plays, they're right there with LA and Arizona. So high pace game. Let's go. Any other thoughts on this one or move on?
No, let's get to the next one.
Mike Davis will be in the Millie Maker lineup, though. That is my bold take. Just because what it frees you up to do. Like, he's not sexy. I get it. But when he scores a touchdown, you are going to need him in your lineups at that price. All right, next game. One of my favorites early in the week. Slowly getting off of it a little bit just because I don't know how healthy Tyler Lockett is. But a total of 52.5. Seattle against a banged-up San Francisco defense. I don't think they have any corner healthy coming up to this one. So DK Metcalf day, absolutely. Hope you guys enjoyed that last week. What sucked, though, is, dude, I was so heavy on Russell Wilson. And what did he have, like 18 points in the first quarter and then just nothing. And
he went nuts.
DK Metcalf had 20-something. And my favorite run back who I had everywhere, Justin Jefferson, went nuts. I think the number 2 wide receiver next to Mike Williams. But nobody played Justin Jefferson. I was in such a damn good spot last week.
And I had the over in that game, too. And Seattle just stopped scoring.
Under, right? Yeah, I don't understand.
It snuck under by 3 points.
And the game script could have been better, too. Because Minnesota kept scoring. It's like, all right, Russ, let's go.
Get cooking.
So, I don't know. That pissed me off. But I'll go back to Russ at 4% ownership for sure. He's probably my 4th favorite quarterback on the slate. Jimmy Garoppolo, I liked him early. I'm out now. Trey Sermon, though, he's going to be very popular today. He should be. I think he's going to be 15 to 20% owned. I'm going to have 40 to 50% Trey Sermon just because every single running back tears up Seattle. And what better one? I mean, better last week, I guess, was Alexander Madison and the Kubiak outside zone scheme. But from that Kubiak tree is Kyle Shanahan. Trey Sermon is going to pound the rock. The only issue I have with how much we saw Jusic last week, but at 5K, I don't really care. I'm playing Trey Sermon. I think he's minus 110 to score. I'm just going to trust it and take that savings because, again, it gets you Henry, it gets you Kamara, it gets you Davonte Adams, whatever you want to do, whoever your high-priced guy is, Trey Sermon unlocks that. Deebo Samuel, I think, is in a smash spot. Brandon Ayuk is a very sleeper GPP play for me at 5K. Also, if you don't want to use Sermon, you could use these pass catchers for San Fran. Kittle looks like he's going to go. I won't have any Kittle. I'm just nervous about that injury and whatever. At 5,900, I'd rather go to Kyle Pitts at 5K. And Will Dissly at 2,600. He's in my cash lineup right now. I think I'm going double tight end with Kelsey and Dissly. Just because I want
you have to. Bad. You have to just because of what it lets you do. Like,
and
in cash, you just have to eat that.
But I think a Russell, DK, and Dissly stack on the other side of Sermon and Ayuk or Sermon and Deebo is an excellent way to go because this game should have a good pace. Team that needs to win a game is Seattle, too. So I think they're 1-2. They got to get going, and this should be a great spot in division against a team with literally no cornerbacks. So any other thoughts on this one? I kind of just stole the show, but I love that game.
No, you covered everything. It's Deebo over Ayuk for me. That's the one thing that I'll add in. I really like Deebo in this spot a lot.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the model loves Deebo. I think his projections are real high. Let's see where he's at.
And he's kind of in that no man's land on DK at 6,500. Yeah, I got at 6,500. People see McLaurin. That's it, right? And they're all together in that 6K range with everyone going down to Amari Cooper or $100 more to DJ Moore. Like, no one's. I I have a feeling no one's really going to land on Debo there. So it's a great spot for him. I really like him today.
All right. Moving on to the highest total on the game on the board here. Arizona and LA, 55.5. Honestly, I wish Darrell Henderson was out because I would fire up all the Sony Michel I can. Arizona is terrible against the run. Go look at box scores with McVay against Arizona. He just pounds the ball down their throat. He doesn't really want to get in a shootout with Kyler, especially when their defense can't stop the run, and they have a really good running scheme. So I'm fading Cooper Kupp again, believe it or not. 7,800 and Davonte Adams is 7,900. They don't belong in the same tier. I don't care. I'm doing it. I'm going all in Adams, and I will have maybe 5 lineups with Cooper Kupp just because it'll be a full-on game stack of this one, and that's it. But looks like Henderson's going to go, so my Sony Michel love is kind of hindered there. Chase Edmonds, I think, is in an all right spot. I think Kyler Murray is a excellent GPP candidate this week, and you could play Derrick Henry with him because my favorite pairing of Kyler Murray right now is Rondell Moore. So Rondell Moore, like his snaps, yeah, and you were on him last week. Bad time.
You're taking it out of my head, man.
So I want to play Rondell Moore when his snaps are up in games that they're trailing points or they're going back and forth. That was not the case in Jacksonville. That will be the case today. Rondell Moore is going to go inside, outside. He won't see Jalen Ramsey likely ever, and DeAndre Hopkins just can't beat Jalen Ramsey. Their splits together are awful. DeAndre Hopkins is not fast. He's just really good, but Jalen Ramsey's going to shut him down. Hopkins can score a touchdown. He can go 6 for 50 and a touchdown, but at 7,700, I have no interest in DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk's kind of sneaky, I guess. If you want to play him, he can, catch a deep ball with the best of them, and you can certainly do that against his secondary. But Robert Woods and Rondell Moore as a late hammer value stack to get yourself, this is similar to like the Mike Davis, Terry McLaurin situation, a high total. This is the highest total. You do not want to abandon this game. So I think, I could do that Philly lineup I said. Instead of doing Mike Davis and Terry McLaurin, I could do Rondell Moore and Robert Woods, and I have both sides of this game covered. If they go up, my lineup should continue, and I think Rondell Moore is in an excellent spot here. Van Jefferson, Millie Maker type of play, absolutely. He could burn him deep on play action today. I think he does score a touchdown today as well. AJ Green, whatever, he's getting 6 targets a game. I think literally every game, 6 targets. So 666. If you believe in that type of stuff, AJ Green is the devil. So you can play him if you want, but Rondell Moore is my guy and Robert Woods is my guy. And I do like Kyler a great deal if he's going to be 5% owned. So I'll probably have 15% Kyler Murray. And that is that. I'm not playing Cooper Kupp, unfortunately, unless it's a full game stack. Please, Cooper, just chill, dude. Like, you're slow. You're not strong. I don't get it. Stop scoring 2 touchdowns games on me, please. That is it. Thoughts on this game? Because, we got to talk about this game. It's a 55-point total that there's literally no ownership besides Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. So
one of my 3
there are 2 of the higher-owned players out there. Why aren't people playing the other side in Kyler Murray, Rondell, even D-Hop if you like D-Hop, play it. But no one's playing the Arizona side, so I don't get that at all.
Yeah, and one of my 3 maxes is Kyler with Moore and Kupp on the other side.
Change it to Woods and get Davonte Adams.
No. All right. No. The man's putting up. No, he's in, and that's exactly what it's crazy because we actually didn't talk about this game beforehand, and it's like you were in my head as you were talking because I had everything prepared, and it was just we're right on the same page. Like for me, it's D-Hop has so much beef with Jalen Ramsey, and his stat lines against Jalen are just beyond atrocious. We're talking like 3 for 27 on 10 targets. Like it's like he gets cooked by Jalen Ramsey every time. He has his number. For me, Kyler needs that big playability, and it's Rondell Moore, man. Like he's that guy. So I really like Kyler. The fact that you could even run Kyler naked, that's just you could do that every week. Weeks 1 all the way throughout the season, you could run Kyler alone, and that'll be fine too.
No, playing
but
with
this week,
Kingsbury, sorry to cut you off again. I'm excited because if Kingsbury saw the same thing when I watched that game, they moved the Bucs moved Tyler Johnson around all over the place, and he's a speedster like Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore is a better player than Tyler Johnson, but dude, if he just comes up the seams and run those like internal post routes that Tyler Johnson was wide open on many times, Brady missed him twice. Rondell Moore's going to score a 30-yard touchdown today, and it's going to be the exact same route that Tyler Johnson had that Brady missed him on last week. So Kingsbury, please be smart. Use your playmaker, your guy that can line up everywhere, Rondell Moore.
Pretty much finished my sentence, yeah. I was pretty much saying like every week you could play Kyler. What I was about to say was you could play Kyler alone every single week, but this is the week where I'm 100% locked in on the Kyler Rondell stack. And I'm running it back with Cooper Kupp. If it ain't broke, please.
All right, let's go. Next game, Baltimore-Denver. With that being said, I don't like any. Tim Patrick gets a much higher snap share or target share now that KJ Hamler's out and Jerry Jeudy's out. Noah Fant is going to be relatively popular, I guess. He's out of my player pool as well. I'm not dealing with that. I think Mark Andrews at 5.3K is interesting. If you like this game, I don't really like this pace of this game at all. I think Denver's just – I think they're both just going to run the hell out of the ball on both sides. So I think that Tyson Williams is a nice sneaky play. I think that his rushing prop is like insanely low. It's like 33 yards. Hit the over on that immediately and then hit it again. And then Tim Patrick, if you like the value, by all means, Baltimore's defense is no good, but it looks like Melvin Gordon's good to go. So I know a lot of us like Javonte Williams early. But other than that, like Mark Andrews at 5,300, I'd rather go to Kyle Pitts. I'd rather go to Logan Thomas. So I have no interest in this game besides like 5 to 10 lineups with Tyson Williams in the Millie Maker type of thing. And you could play Tim Patrick at that value, absolutely. But I just don't think this game's going to have a high pace. Vegas doesn't either. I think the total's at 43. That's it for me in this game. You like anything?
Only person I'm playing is Tim Patrick. I think like Denver's gonna be chasing points. I really like the Ravens in this game. I think Lamar gets the job done. So Denver chasing points. Give me Tim Patrick at 4,900 in that grouping of receivers with Waddle and Emmanuel Sanders' career game last week and this and that. Everyone's gonna be looking elsewhere. Keeping it simple. Patrick's got a really safe floor for our cash games.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, do you actually think that Denver's going to be chasing points? The spread's 1. Is that the biggest trap ever? Like, I don't know. I never bet against Denver at home.
So
unless it's a team that's already been there in the year, like Baltimore going there right now, just worries me. Like the elevation, all that. Like, it's tough to play in Denver, and I'd rather play like the Chiefs in Denver. The second time they play Denver, if it's at Denver, then I'll bet that game. I have some weird rules about betting against Denver at home, but
so maybe here's my perspective on this game was, and one of the first bets that I locked in, other than Tampa Bay -5, now it's up to 7. So I'm happy I got that closing line value. I bet it right on Tuesday. But one of the first things I took was Ravens money line when I saw that they weren't favored. And the main reason why everyone keeps saying how good Denver's been looking, and rightfully so, they have been looking good. Teddy looks good under center. They have playmakers in that offense that are now finally being able to, get the job done with a quarterback that actually knows what he's doing back there. But they've played both New York teams and the Jags. Like, I like this Denver team. I really like this Denver team. We both of us have been saying Jerry Jeudy is one of the best route runners in the league already. Courtland Sutton, both of us, we can talk about Courtland Sutton for another 10 hours. But that being said, you've faced both New York teams and the Jags. Beat a team like the Ravens, and now we're talking. So to me, until they're able to do that, I'm taking Lamar all day long to be able to win this game for Baltimore.
All right. Last game of the day. Pittsburgh and Green Bay. We got a total of 45.5, 44.5 at some books. I like the over on that because 1% owned Aaron Rodgers. So if you go to the ADA model, the highest projected skill position player is Derrick Henry at 23.81, and number 2 is Davonte Adams at 23.29. Davonte Adams' ownership is pretty high now. He's looking at like 20%. Damn, I don't know how people are affording all this. They must be going double punt. So that's my thing, is when I go off Derrick Henry, I'm not going double punt to play Davonte Adams. I'm getting Kelsey, or I'm getting Davonte Adams, or I'm getting both and playing these mid-tier receivers we talked about. But 1% owned Aaron Rodgers, I'm all over it. He is probably my third favorite GPP quarterback behind Hurts and Mahomes. Obviously, I love those guys. Kyler's probably number 4. And then I like Dak too, but Dak's going to be popular. I think Aaron Rodgers and Davonte Adams go absolutely nuts. And then with no Chase Claypool on the other side, Juju Smith-Schuster is probably going to see Kevin King the most. And then when he's not seeing Kevin King, he'll be in the slot, which is a great spot to attack Green Bay. It scares me to be higher on Juju than it is Deontay Johnson, but I think Jair is going to take Deontay a lot, and I think Juju gets in the box here. 5,600 on DraftKings is way too cheap. And then Najee Harris, we always like running backs against Green Bay. We've seen every single running back that's played against them have a pretty solid day. I think everybody's going for 3x value, especially like DeAndre Swift. He went off on them, and I think Sermon had a good game against them last week. The touchdown helped. He obviously didn't do a whole lot on the ground, but Najee Harris.
10 for 40 and a touchdown last week for Sermon.
Yeah, I mean, Najee Harris had 19 targets last week. I've never seen anything like that. That obviously won't happen again, but he's going to get 5 to 8 targets, and I think that's an excellent run back. I like the over in this game a lot. I think Aaron Jones is, I don't know. I'm not really on Aaron Jones, but I like this Packers offense to get in the red zone a lot. The 80 Mile thinks this is somehow an up-paced game. So I like Davonte Adams, Aaron Rodgers. I love those two, let's say. And then a run back at Najee Harris and Juju Smith-Schuster for this afternoon hammer that no one's going to be on. And I like it a ton. So I'll probably get many pieces of KC and Philly to put around that, or that Mike Davis, Terry McLaurin, or Rondell Moore and Robert Woods. So I cover myself with those high total games because I'm going to invest a lot in this Green Bay offense today.
That's it. It's Rodgers. It's Davonte. This is a game where he could get up like north of 15 targets and get in the box twice. So we're seeing a lot of Rodgers Adams mini stacks here with either Najee or Juju on the way back or both. How you feel about Aaron Jones?
Not for me. I'm just going all in on Aaron Rodgers and Adams.
That's it. So for me, it's a mini stack, even though it ends up, and any time you're stacking with your quarterback, pretty much ends up being your main. But I would just keep it to Rodgers and Adams, one run back on the way, either Najee or Juju, depending on which position you need. But
yeah, I don't love the double run back, but I am in a game. I'm game second this one a little bit for my high field contest because no one's going to play it. So
exactly,
I will.
That's it.
All right.
Boom.
Favorite GPP quarterback? Go.
Jalen Hurts.
Favorite cash quarterback?
Jalen Hurts.
Could be the same guy. All right. My favorite GPP is going to be Patrick Mahomes. Honorable mention, Aaron Rodgers. Favorite cash is Jalen Hurts. Honorable mention, Dak Prescott. Running back, GPP. You're just going to say Henry and Henry, aren't you? All right.
No, I'll get someone else. I'll go Henry and
Henry cash.
In cash, I'll eat. No, like Henry's just every contest, but in cash, I'll take Chubba over Demont this week.
Okay, I'm going Derrick Henry cash, Miles Sanders GPP. Easy as that. I don't really like that many other running backs that aren't the value guys that we already talked about. Wide receiver, cash for me, Davonte Adams, GPP for me. I mean, obviously I love Davonte Adams, so I don't need to say him again. I'm going to go with Rondell Moore or Terry McLaurin.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
I love Rondell Moore. I need exposure to that game.
Give me Odell.
Yeah, fuck, I love Odell.
Give me Odell and give me in GPPs.
Still Odell.
Yeah, still Odell. I'm just, you know what? Keeping it simple this week. I'm going one guy for both. Odell both.
Everywhere.
Yeah, one guy.
All right. Cash tight end for me is either Disley or Kelsey. I haven't decided which way I'm going. GPP Kyle Pitts.
For me, it's Disley and cash. And if it gets you Kelsey, great. But you just have to take the free square. And then GPP, give me Hawk.
Oh,
it's
nice.
a Hawk
week.
We
did talk about him a little
bit.
It's
a Hawk week.
All right. Let's get after it. Sorry for the technical errors that YouTube had apparently this morning. Let's get a couple quick questions and get out of here. Julian, you always ask some good questions. All right. For cash on DK, Hurts, Henry, Sermon, OBJ, Robert Woods, Corey Davis, Disley, Davonte Adams, Cold Steve. I love it. You cool with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of lower on, like, I'm not really that high on Corey Davis right now. So I
think for cash is all right, but with Crowder getting in there, that dropped my love for him.
For me, it was a quick pivot to Tim Patrick at only $100 less.
Yeah, I go Corey Davis there, but Tim Patrick's in a good spot too. I get it. FanDuel cash, that's you. Moss and
Hurts,
cash.
Moss. Well, Moss
Mike Davis needs to be in that lineup, right? At 5,400 on FanDuel.
You need Henry with Mike Davis in cash because that's what the majority of people are going to do. Davonte in cash is iffy a little bit, and you can't go double tight end on.
Yeah. I don't think there's any need for Disley on FanDuel, right? You don't need it.
Well, he's 4,400, and building with Henry and Kelsey is really tough to get some good wide receivers. But you can't when we talk about getting Kelsey that on DraftKings, because Disley is the stone cold minimum. It's a completely different lineup structure. But on FanDuel, it's all about touchdown equity, and unless you see Disley getting in the box, like you can't play both. You might just have to end up eating Disley chalk and then coming off Kelsey there.
All right, what do you think about this one? Henry, Sermon, OBJ. We got Hurts, obviously. Scary Terry, love it. Tim Patrick, Disley, and Monty in the Packers.
Very minor detail, not that we care about DSTs. I would just switch Packers D out, but
yeah,
I like every other piece. I like every other piece, really.
I don't know where you go. I don't like Tim Patrick that much. What if you went? I personally, when I see that one, I would go Sermon in the flex and put Mike Davis at RB2 and see what that does with Patrick and the defense. See if you can maybe upgrade a little bit there. But I love that. I think if you're using Disley, you could probably afford Henry and Adams together. That's what I would prefer you do. Because Disley is just our path to getting two studs. And I don't see the two studs here. I mean, I get Scary Terry too, but I think Scary Terry is more of a GPP guy. Chubb, Elliott, Barkley, GPP. That's how I would rate him, yeah.
I'm not playing Zeke at all this week. That Carolina run defense is legit. I think it's a Doc week. So I wouldn't even have Zeke in that group. But for me, it's Chubb well above the other two.
All right, Disley or Schultz. And favorite two wide receivers under 5K.
I'm not chasing Schultz. Man. He just had the nuts matchup last week against Philly, which Kelsey has this week. So it's still Amari. It's still CD. You're going to see way more Tony Pollard this week as well. For me, it's not Schultz. I rather just go, if I'm going down at tight end, I'd rather go all the way down to Disley, assuming this is for cash.
Yeah, for two favorite wide receivers under 5K, Rondell Moore and Terrace Marshall probably for me. I don't really like many people in that price range. But all right, love it, guys. Thank you so much for the support. We couldn't do this without you. Please hit the like button, as Sia said, and good luck this week. Let's see a ton of Pittman for me, but I don't like either of those guys.
Yeah.
Let's see some screenshots.
Jalen Reagor is like 5,400 or 5,500 on FanDuel. Enjoy it.
All right. See you guys. Peace out. Good luck. We'll see some screenshots in a couple hours.